We are following developments tonight as the Supreme Court handed down two more big decisions today. The first, the court ruled in favor of a website designer who doesn't want to make wedding websites for gay couples. And the justices said that President Biden overstepped his authority when he tried to cancel or reduce student loan debts. And Stephen Maynard Caliendo is joining us now to talk about these rulings and their impacts. Stephen, yesterday's affirmative action ruling would have been plenty of topic for us to discuss, but two more of these today. Let's start with that First Amendment case. What do you suspect will be the broader implications in other arenas in this country?
Well, Ray, it's going to be tested. There's no question about it. The majority of the court is trying to walk a pretty fine line here in terms of what business owners can decide to do and to not do based on their on their perception of their religious freedom. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of a website designer, for instance, who wishes to not design a website for interracial couples, or for couples of who are Muslim, or any host of things. And so lower courts are going to have to interpret this ruling, and we'll find out more as the years go on when they become challenged. But I'm sure you and I will have conversations about this for some time.
I mean, how realistic is that? Do you fear that will be the next plan of attack for the Supreme Court, given where we are now?
I don't know why not. I mean, and again, I don't know that it'll go the whole way to the Supreme Court. It doesn't need to. This will stand as precedent until the court overturns itself, as it tends to do from time to time. And so any lower federal courts are going to have to make rulings on cases that come before them that are consistent with this ruling today. And so I think to the extent that we see through the appeals process in different districts, there might be disagreement about how this case is being applied. The court may take it up again in future terms fairly quickly, but it's not a very clear decision. The splitting here, of course, is that the objection is on behavior, that is getting married, not the identity of the people involved. And I think that's going to get pretty dicey.
Let's get to the other ruling on student loan debt forgiveness here. The president, we just heard from him saying that he's going to work around this ruling here. What do you think his authority will actually allow him to do on this matter?
That was anticipated, of course, and I think that the president and the president's team knew that using the HEROES Act, which was what was in play here, was a risky maneuver. It wasn't necessarily a sure thing. The president made a campaign promise about relieving student debt, some portion of it, or maybe even all of it. The president indicated in the speech that we just heard that he's found a workaround already, essentially giving another 12-month reprieve. That's not how it's being framed, of course, but to not have any late fees accrue and to not be reported to a credit agency for 12 months after that October start is effectively until his administration can figure out what to do. But this really is a case about separation of powers. And the argument here wasn't that student loan debt can't be canceled. It was that under this particular provision, where the executive branch was given some latitude, they couldn't do something of this magnitude without first going back to Congress to clarify. So in some ways, this is sort of a legalistic more than an ideological decision, but it does have implications for moving forward in a number of ways.
Quickly here, Stephen, with so much changing here, so much ground shifting here, the court taking us back half a century here, what do you think that this will do about putting the Supreme Court on the ballot, and what does it say about the trust that is eroding now in this court?
Well, the Supreme Court can be on the ballot, but given the age of most of the justices and the fact that 3 of them are pretty young and were appointed in the last administration, a 6-3 majority for the conservatives is going to hold, even if it turns into a 5-4 majority in the next couple of years. And so the only thing that can be on the ballot meaningfully is a court packing plan. Whether or not there's going to be justices added to the court, I don't know that that's high on the list of most Americans' values and what they're going to vote on. But remember, this is what President Trump meant when he said, "Make America Great Again." When pushed on that, he never explained exactly what he meant. When was again? But as we've seen last year in the Dobbs decision, and this year with the affirmative action cases in particular, and even with respect to LGBTQ rights, we're going back to an earlier time. And that's certainly what was promised. That's going to make a lot of people very upset, and it makes some people very happy.
It has done both of those things. Stephen Maynard Caliendo, thanks for being with us. Good to talk to you once again.
Good to see you, Ray.
Coming up, the Bulls